I think I found one on the side of the road when I was still teaching high school in Savannah, and it worked. And I became kind of obsessed with it briefly, and I would write letters on it. I think I made a point of writing letters to people just so I could have an excuse to use the typewriter, because I was very, very eager to be that kind of writer, I suppose.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Typewriters, huh?
Yeah. That's a time in my life that, some people I'm sure will look back on their time wearing a top hat in public or like growing their hipster beard or something and being like, oh God, I was insufferable back in those days. And I'm no different, except it has more to do with a typewriter than anything else. So
yeah.
Try to forget about it.
You know who else is insufferable?
Who's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to PixelLit. My name is Kevin. Alongside me is Phil.
Did you mean that the show is insufferable? What was that?
I don't know. I honestly don't. I'm not entirely sure where that one came from. But
I just stumbled into a marvelous self-own. That's all.
Yeah, a marvelous self-own. But today we're finishing up Halo, the Rubicon Protocol. And,
yes.
This book.
My God.
There's a lot of juice in this book. I'll say that. It's got a lot of chutzpah.
This book's got the juice. There is no question.
It's worth the squeeze.
Big time. And I'm so frustrated that it's this book.
Yes.
And because this is our first, as we pointed out in the first episode of this book, this is our first review copy book we've ever gotten, where the publisher contacted us and said, would you be interested?
Do you want it? Yeah.
Do you want it? And we said absolutely. And we made a point of saying, full disclosure, this is not a book we bought. This is a book that was offered to us in the same way we would if we were reviewing a game or something like that. And now, based on having read the entire book, I'm so frustrated that it is as good as it is, because it makes me feel like people are going to hear this and go, oh, well, yeah, that's all it takes, guys. They gave you a free book and you're just going to give them a glowing review. Is that what it is? Like, no, it's actually, God damn it, it's really good.
It's really good. It's a good book.
Really good. Why won't you listen to me?
You should. It makes it, and it made me want to play Halo Infinite.
Same. Oh my God. I wrote that in my notes. I'm so glad you said that. Absolutely. And we're going to get into it, but there are so many things at the end that you're like, I wonder if they tie this up in the game. I bet they do.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued. And yeah, suddenly I want to skip all the other ones in between that I haven't played just so I can play Infinite and find out what happens.
Yeah. So when we left off, it was chapter 28.
Yes.
That we had just finished 27 and we're into chapter 28. And basically, so Phil, actually, if you could give us a rundown of what happens in the last episode leading into chapter 28.
Hold on. Yeah, let me pull this guy because 28, one of the things we actually ended up vaguely discussing over the phone today with her texts is that 28 ended up being one of the longest chapters in the book. And we got up to it. And I'm really glad we did, because it was some really heavy shit. Basically, what we've been dealing with up until now is, at this point, months have gone by. These people are in full survival mode. We've got young Lucas, young sweet Lucas, sweet baby Lucas. He has been captured by the Banished They have unearthed this ungodly force, this alien presence that nobody recognizes, that is basically some level of an annihilator that has promised to undo everything they hold dear, everything that they know, which the Banished are good with. And for whatever reason, Lucas is a necessary part of the puzzle that they require him to connect to this creature, which is called, what was the name of it? What did
The
they call
Harbinger.
it? The Harbinger, yeah. So Lucas is rotting in a cell, slowly losing his mind. His Spartan friends have come by to try and rescue him, but he is basically hooked up there forever. Basically, they've shackled him in a way that he has implied could kill him or them or everybody. But no matter what happens, they should not be trying to break him out. And at this point, right when we get into 28, Lucas has been left with a plan, basically a recording device. Which one of the Spartans left it with him? It wasn't Stone.
Kovan. Kovan left him with a recording device.
Exactly. And said, basically, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to use this, set it somewhere in the process of your imprisonment. And we need to find out as much as we possibly can about this Harbinger creature. And we promise we will try to come back and save you. So we actually ended up stopping this at exactly the right point, because it is the height of the desperation of this whole team. People are just surviving. Our team of misfits, like Bad News Bears style UNSC people, like, barbers and, retail assistants and stuff, have been trained to turn into this scrappy little assassin team where they're just going in and fucking shit up everywhere they can. They're starving to death. They are dealing with PTSD. They are running out of supplies. They're running out of hope. And now we have our first in with this, basically the MacGuffin for the Banished, like what they're aiming for, what they're going for. And and that's where we leave off. Like everyone's at the height of desperation here.
Yeah. So when we pick up, Stone has been basically the heat has been on for Stone for a few days. I think the author actually uses the word the heat.
I think she does.
Because Stone basically made a distraction so that Kovan could escape from her little interaction with Lucas. And so Stone's been just running from the Banished for a few days now. And she decides to go into the excavation site that the Banished have underneath the Mortal Reverie. And it's a massive forerunner site that they find. And so she finds her way in, and she finds there's a stasis pod that she finds, which I think is supposed to be the Harbinger stasis pod. That they used Lucas to open. She finds it empty. She's like, well, I hope whatever was in here I hope this is old or whatever.
Yeah. Please let this not be relevant to my current situation.
I really hope this isn't. Stone says, I hope this isn't relevant to the plot, and moves on.
Right. Please, oh, please let this be window dressing. Oh, please.
She continues on, but before she goes any deeper, she shoots off a message to Kovan saying what she's doing, where she is, and all that stuff. So we have a lot of her basically going deeper and deeper into this Forerunner base. And she runs into these the first thing she finds are like the signs of a struggle, some dead bodies of banished people. And then she runs into this alien race, and they got like 2 legs or 2 arms, 4 legs, and they're just kind of floating around on jetpacks. Yeah. And they're just watching her. Like,
they don't seem very threatened by her at all.
They're not threatened, but they're armed with banished weapons. So clearly they had taken the weapons from the banished excavation team that they had killed. So she's just seeing them, and at some point, she, puts her hand on her gun and realizes that she's just gonna have to make a break for it at some point.
Yeah.
So she starts running down a hallway, and they start fire. As soon as she starts running, they start firing on her.
Yeah.
And she runs down this hallway and escapes into this like smaller alcove area. And as soon as she gets into like an area that isn't as open air, because these Forerunner rooms are like the word that is used often is like, it was like a cathedral, it has gigantic vaulted ceilings and all that stuff. So as soon as she gets into like a more enclosed space, these jetpack aliens are like, nah, and they give up.
Yeah, they seem only to be going after her half-heartedly. It's almost like they are just not threatened by her. She runs and they start shooting after her basically because like, well, she's running. Should we shoot her? That kind of feels like a thing to do.
Let's shoot her.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Oh, well, there's no room. We can't use our
Can't use our jetpacks in there.
Let us know if you're coming back. Let us know. We'll give it another try.
Yeah. So she, as she gets deeper into the Forerunner excavation site, she sees another group of banished soldiers, and amongst them are two in particular that have been named Gorian and Jaga. Jaga is the elite blood sport. Is it blood sport? Or
it's blood. Not blood sport, but it's this team of like it's Covenant and old Spartans like who have dissented, like who have seceded from the UNSC.
They're
nuts.
They're tough as nails.
Yeah.
And so Gorian is one of them. Jaga is another one. They wear black and red armor. They're tough to deal with. So she sees what they're up to. Jaga and Gorian are using a woman, a female human hostage to interact with all the Forerunner stuff. They're using her hand, and they get this computer going. And the computer gives them a data stream that will allow them to take control of Zeta Halo's defensive capabilities. And when she sees that happen, her role right at this moment becomes crystal clear. They cannot be allowed to have that. And so what happens is Jaga and Gorian just kill the woman that they had with them. They're like, well, we don't need her anymore.
Yeah,
and
pretty abruptly.
Stowe goes in and basically she takes it from him, the data card that they had. She goes in, she takes it from him, and it just turns into this pages-long brawl between Jaga, Stone, and Gorian.
It's like this ultra-violent game of keep away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, Gorian, she throws Jaga off the edge, and then Gorian hits her with a phantom. Yeah. And pins her against the wall. Hits her with a truck.
Yeah. He just rolls a truck into her. Because that's how you deal with Spartans. I mean, it's effective. I can't argue against it.
And then she like climbs onto the hood and she punches him.
Yeah.
Until he like falls out of the phantom. And eventually she has an opening to just run. So she runs. And as she's running, she is killing the shit out of so many banished soldiers. There's she runs into a room and there's like some grunts and she just punches one and it hits the wall and it splatters.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because we've been dealing. It's terrific because for all of the dealing with PTSD and the dark side of war is hell and everything like that, you cannot accuse Kelly Gay of trying to reinvent the general violent joy of a Halo game, because there's plenty of that. And this chapter is a prime example. It's just
prime example.
Oh my God, it's insane. And it's Bloodstar, by the way. The
Bloodstar. Okay, Bloodstar. So they part of Stone's plan is that she has the chip in her Spartan armor, and her AI Uko is copying it basically to her armor, but also trying to corrupt the data on the original chip.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's fighting. She's like killing grunts, and then she's killing elites, and she fights her way through almost basically every banished soldier that is left in this excavation. She's not that far from the exit at this point. And she says, we're like, all right, well, let's just get, and then her AI pops in trying to get her attention, but it's too late as she is stabbed through the back by a plasma blade.
Yeah.
And it's Jaga, who did not die, clearly, from being thrown off of the ledge.
Right.
He got better.
I got better.
He climbed his way up, and Jaga and Gorian take the data chip back from her, and that is a wrap on Bonita Stone. She just, she falls, and it says she lets the darkness take her.
Yeah,
and it's such a.
It's a fucking bummer. It's such a bummer because she's like the first Spartan we met in the book.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So and I did the thing that you shouldn't do, where I was like, oh, well, I mean, they're gonna bring her back. Like that's that, because it was a little vague for a second there at the end.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, she'll no. This is it for Stone. She's gone.
She's dead.
But she does have a wonderful moment at the end where, because they've taken the chip from her and they have
corrupted chip.
They've corrupted it, exactly. So she's able to die knowing that she fucked them over pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good moment. And it's and I know I'm not doing it justice in just recapping chapter 28. Chapter 28 is really long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's a very long chapter.
It might be the longest in the book. Yeah.
I think it is the longest in the book. And it's 100% just Spartan Stone in this Forerunner excavation site, fighting for her life to try to stop them from getting control of the defensive stuff.
Yeah, and we've talked about in the past with these action-filled books and everything. It's not in our interest to give you a play-by-play on every fist thrown or bullet fired. But you can take it from us that if that scene alone to me is worth the price of admission, especially with the context of knowing who she is and having gone through so much with her. This is a hard. You texted me and you said you needed a little break after you read this chapter.
After I read chapter 28, I was I need a moment.
Absolutely, and I don't blame you. I went and had a lunch break. I finished that chapter and I was like, well, Daddy's gonna have a sandwich and try to process his emotions and so I ate my feelings and I got on with it. But it is a long, gloriously spread out chapter just filled with annihilation and fucking Gorian's macho bullshit nearly ruining everything for him again. There's that moment where she's in a fight with Gorian and this other not a grunt, a brute, I think, and he basically interrupts the fight because the brute has the upper hand on Stone and is about to take her down, but Gorian like knocks the brute out of the way because he's like, no, this is
you
mine.
can't have my kill.
Right, that's my kill. And it's like, you could have had her out of your hair, you stupid idiot. Like, he's just
Gorian
he's
is just
the same Gorian we knew from way back when.
Yeah, it's not like he if you thought he's learned anything in the past, I don't know, 6 months.
Absolutely not.
Whatever it is, 5 months, he hasn't.
No. Nope. Not a thing. Which is good news for humanity, I suppose.
So same day. This is happening at the same day, same time. We have a brief chapter 29. Cuts back to Lucas. Lucas is not doing well.
Yeah.
He's he kind of gets roughed up by the Banished on their way over to see Harbinger. And then he gets thrown into the room with Harbinger, and she feeds him, and like she has a lot of food, like she just has a big spread, a nice spread. And he's eating, and then she's like, "That's enough. I have things to tell you."
Yeah. But she's kind of like trying to commiserate with him. Like, you know, we have a lot in common. Like you've been fucked over. I've been fucked over. Like, so now I'm going to unpeel your brain. Like,
so now let's get on with the mind flaying.
Right. Exactly. Good Lord. Some serious illithid shit. It's weird. She's a fascinating and very spooky character. I don't know if there's any indication that the Harbinger is a she or not.
She is a she.
She is a she. Okay.
Yeah. According to the, I think in the book.
Okay.
So day 137, chapter 30. Murphy is pissed.
Yeah.
This is a great moment where he basically he forgets that Kovan could end his life in a second. And he's just like, what the fuck is going on, Kovan? You haven't been saying anything to us for the past few days. He like pushes her. Like he at one point he like grabs her armor and like pulls her. He's like, talk to me.
Right. And it's crazy because it's a great they had a moment in the first third of the book where at some point they're joking about, because all the rules have gone out the window and everything's gone to shit. And one of them calls one of the superior officers an asshole or something like that. And they're all laughing. And he says, hey, you know, you can get thrown in the brig for calling your commanding officer an asshole. Ha, ha, ha. Because right then it doesn't matter anymore. And this is kind of like a no holds barred, fully serious version of that, where it's like, I don't give a shit that you're a Spartan. I don't care that you outrank me. I don't give a shit. You owe me answers. It's a very human moment. It's great.
Yeah. And Kovan finally admits to everything. Like, all right, well, we found Lucas. We tried to get him out. We couldn't get him out. And Stone has been like MIA since then, but I know where she is. Mm-hmm. And everybody is like, I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed.
Right. That's exactly what it is. They're like, oh, we get it, but this is kind of fucked up, and your father and I are going to have to talk about this.
So they go off to, they were like, all right, we're going to go and we're going to go get Stone. So they go to the excavation site, and there's a really nice moment where the boat crew shows off how efficient they are at killing a brute. Yeah.
Oh, it's fun, isn't it? We get a serious play-by-play on how they're just immediately, quietly take out a 9
without
foot tall
a sound. Alien. It's like the five of them just like basically run up to this brute, and like one stabs him in the stomach. Two of them like slice his like Achilles tendons. Yeah. And then Bender like stabs him in the throat or something like that. Yeah. It's like, it is amazing.
It is. It's like, imagine being taken down by a dozen cats, like flawlessly, terrifyingly, silently. Like, that's the impression I got for this one. It's great. It's just a terrific. Doesn't take up a lot of space.
It's just a great scene.
But it's a great scene. And it shows you how far these people have come. Like, this dude was like making you your protein shake like 6 months ago, and now he's assassinating brutes in the jungle. Like, it's crazy.
So they continue on and into the thing, and they find a lot of the things that Stone had seen, and then they find Stone. They see her armor. I recognize that light blue Mjolnir armor anywhere, and they go up. She's gone, and they have like a moment, and then Kovan takes the chip out and starts because the helmet basically has a full log of everything that happens.
Right.
So she takes the chip out and watches how it went down. And then the Banished show up on their heels, and they just have to run. And they are just running. And they find they run for hours.
Yeah.
Until they're just out of breath. They're tired. The Banished probably aren't coming anymore. And then suddenly a sub-monitor, Veridity, shows up, and she's like, "Oh, this is great! Reclaimers are here! Fuck yeah!"
I fucking love Veridity. Like substitute good guy yap as far as I'm concerned. Just
I forget if it happens in this particular moment where they're like. No, Veridity is just a sub-monitor. If I were the monitor, the Banished would be dead already.
Right, yeah. Completely loathes the Banished right off the bat. It's a great introduction. It's fantastic.
And it's she has so much personality, you almost forget that she is just a floating metal sphere with a green eye in it or something like that.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's like a less smart ass version of who's the stupid little robot in the Borderlands games?
I forget, but
you know what I'm talking about.
But also a good guy version of
right. Just
from the first Halo, the monitor from Halo 1.
Yeah, it's that kind of. They always
Guilty
have
Spark. Yeah,
they always have terrific personalities.
Yeah, I mean because they've been there for tens of thousands of years, so
right.
they kind of lose their minds a little
They're
bit.
Probably pretty bored at that point too. They're like, oh, thank God.
So they talk about how they're basically in this hub type building. They need to get to the conservatory. But even if the Covenant even if the Banished get to the conservatory, they don't have the data chip and the boat crew does because they have a corrupted version. And since Stone copied it to her personal chip, they actually have the information that they need to take control.
Yeah.
So we jump over to Horvath now.
Yes.
And Horvath is basically playing Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. It's just some weird. He's looking at this map that the dying ONI agent gave him, and he's like, it's like walk across the hard swamp or something like that.
Bad localization, and
it's like some bad localization.
Yeah,
he's like looking at it, and it's basically a swamp. It's basically a it's kind of like a tar pit that he has to walk through, and his Elfie, his AI is like, well, if you go in there, you can't stop moving. Like as soon as you stop moving, you sink. But if you run too fast, you'll sink.
Right. Yeah. Elfie's like, go. And he starts to run. He's like, but don't run. Go quickly, but don't run, and please don't panic. If your heart rate goes too high, you will also sink. Stop holding your breath. It'll also make you sink. It's just this.
And this is, if you get sad, you will also sink.
Tex! No, it's such a good comparison to Simon's Quest. Like, all that was missing was him to like hold a crystal above his head and kneel by the lake inexplicably. Like, it is a weird. Yeah, it's like a quick insert of like Resident Evil style puzzles into Halo for some reason. It's so weird. I love it. It's just weird.
It's great. So Horvath, by the way, if you listen to the audio version, Horvath has a Spanish accent.
Oh, he does?
It's not Thomas Horvath. It's Tomas Horvath.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
So he continues across the tar pits until he gets to a platform that's kind of camouflaged within it. It's like a black glass platform that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. And he just kind of stands on it, and it's an elevator, it's a lift, and he goes straight down 800 meters.
Yeah.
So, and that lowers him, and now he is in the hub. And so when he gets down there, his sensors actually start picking up, like, I'm getting a Spartan and some humans. And he runs into Kovan and the boat crew. And it's like, these are the first human beings that Horvath has seen since day 2.
Yeah, for months. For months. And they point that out too. They're like, wait, day 2? What the fuck? Like he has gone full native at this point. It is crazy.
It is amazing though that this is if we ever got to talk to Kelly Gay, I'm just curious about how the days are listed, because this is happening on day 143, when the previous chapter for the boat crew was day 137.
Yeah.
So 6 days have passed. I guess it's like 6 days have passed of the boat crew just walking through the hub.
Because at no point it doesn't go backwards at any point, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's always forward.
So you have to assume this all links, but there's a more dedicated Halo fan might sit down with this and actually like give us a timeline with all the different characters and clusters of characters. Yeah. And
I assume that just means that the hub, they're walking through the hub, and the conservatory is just a really long distance away. Like, they're physically walking to it. It takes a while to get there.
And I suppose you could argue that there would be moments too that like they just spent like 12 hours running, so they might set up a little camp for a day or something like that, and sleep it off and get their energy back. So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah. And Veridity is like, you humans are walking super slow. We got to get a move on. But they end up so they have this reunion of sorts. Horvath has the realization that this boat crew that he's talking to is the boat crew that he was talking to on day 2 when everything went to shit.
Yeah. And he's putting faces to names now. He's like remembering all these people.
Exactly. And there's a chapter 32 now. They give Horvath a full rundown of here's everything that happened. And it's kind of almost like a good recap at that moment for the audience of like all the main characters that are left are in one spot now. Here's everybody knows everything that like is important now.
Yeah.
There's no gaps in knowledge. Everybody has now interacted with everybody.
Yeah.
So they talk about how like, all right, they start coming up with a plan. How do we get a message out to the UNSC? And Veridity is like, oh, that's that communication style that you're talking about. we have these beacon towers that can do that. I just need to get the monitor Pyre's permission, and that'll be no problem.
That'll be easy. Pyre's a real laid back dude.
So a few days later now, it's chapter 33. Lucas is having a complete breakdown.
Oh. Lucas is just snapped.
You know,
poor boy.
Having lunches with eldritch beings apparently is not good for one's mental health.
I don't care how much delicious, squishy, exotic fruit you get to eat over lunch. You know, a lobotomy's a lobotomy.
So, but his mystery cellmate in the next cell over kind of talks him through it. And Lucas tries to tell the guy what is happening in these meetings with Harbinger. But every time he tries to say it, instead of saying words, he says numbers.
Yeah.
And he cannot say anything about the meetings that he has with Harbinger. It's in his head. The information is in his head. He just can't recount it.
And that fact almost as much as what is actually happening to him at the hands of the Harbinger causes such a strain on his brain, like the inability to speak what's in your head really, really fucks with him. It's really sad.
It is, yeah. So we're another couple days later. We're at day 149, and the crew finally reaches the conservatory. Now, the Banished are outside of the conservatory, but they have to break in because they are out of humans.
Yeah.
So they have to just use one of their excavation lasers to just get into the building. So that's going to take them a little bit. And even then, the actual building is designed as a maze. So if you don't know where you are going, you won't get to where you need to go.
Right. Yeah, you need a guide to get anywhere.
You need a guide.
This place.
So Veridity is like, yeah, we're fine. Things will be fine.
The Banished just trying to cheat and not just like go straight through.
They just have a big old laser and they're just going to cut a hole straight through.
It's a very orcish style strategy.
Yeah, the red makes it go faster.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get to Pyre. So basically, it's this. Pyre is like a monitor who has really gotten into yoga and breathing meditations.
Pyre's the big turtle in Neverending Story. Just like, nothing matters.
And all the other sub-monitors are like in meditation as well, being forced to like meditate because Pyre is like, no, we're just all going to chill, bro.
We're all just waiting.
And Veridity's like, no, we got to get rid of the Banished. And Pyre's like, it'll be fine.
Pyre is a true, like, both sides are bad style guy.
Yes.
Like, he's like, look, these people have come, they've gone, we've healed. To everything, turn. You know, like, just a centrist hippie. He's insufferable. He really is.
And then Veridity mentions, oh, by the way, the Harbinger got out. And then Pyre like puts on a suit and tie.
Yeah.
And like breaks out the money clip and it's all down to business, you know?
Right, yeah. Suddenly it's 1982 and there's money to be made and yeah, he's just ready to roll.
He just Gordon Geckos the fuck out of the next scene.
Yeah.
You know, he tells the rest of the sub-monitors what to do. He's like, all right, this is what you're going to need. We got these beacons. Here's a security override code for the beacons because all of the Banished have taken control over them. So we'll send you to one of them. Veridity, you got to stay here. We got work to do. And Veridity's like, no, I got to help my friends. And Pyre's like, nope, you got to stay here. We got a lot of work to do for the Harbinger. You find folks, you go down the hallway, you make a right. There will be a teleporter platform waiting for you to get to that beacon.
Yeah, it's almost like he's like I'm gonna scroll down a map on a napkin for you, and you should be fine. We've got MapQuest down here. We're pretty advanced. It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be but unfortunately, the Spartan helmets only run on Waze. So.
Oh yeah. But at least you know when there's gonna be a cop like doing speed trap, so that's good. It's something.
So this is the other part that I was confused about. So it jumps from day 149 to day 154. It's like, did it take them 5 days to get to the translocation room?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you do get an intense sense of size in with that place. So I guess, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it isn't. It isn't. I appreciate the brevity. I appreciate skipping like 20 pages of like, and then they stopped and made camp, and then they went and did this, and then they like yeah, good, get to it. But I think a passing notification of like
it took days.
Yeah, that would be fine by me. But yeah, that is a little unclear.
They get to the translocation terminal and teleport to the tower that they're going to try to use. Everybody is vomiting when they land, except Bender. And Bender is referred to as one of those annoying people who are unaffected by translocating.
Yeah, I know, that old chestnut.
Well, it's like people who don't get affected by like seasickness or whatever. Right. Bender's just like, it's fine.
Or people who claim that they don't get hangovers, that whole thing.
So they organize an attack on the beacon to take the beacon from the Banished. And it's Murphy, Bender, and Kovan who have to get in there. And they fight their way in, and they get to the comms platform. And now that it's like in and the message is ready to go, they have to hold it until it actually sends. And now reinforcements from the Banished are starting to arrive, and they're trying to retake the comms platform, or at the very least, just destroy it so that the message can't be sent out. And there's a lot of fighting back and forth. At one point, though, an elite is drawing down on the comms platform, ready to shoot it. And Murphy knows basically there's only one thing left to do. And Murphy doesn't have any guns at this point. He's out of ammo. He jumps in and he takes the plasma bolt that the elite was aiming for the comms platform, and he just takes it.
Yeah.
Murphy doesn't have any armor.
Nope.
And yeah, so they basically, the Kovan and Bender get to him, and Murphy dies, knowing that the message has sent out. And he gave it just enough time for it to send out, and he just has these fading memories of his childhood as he dies.
This is another great moment to take a quick coffee break and stare into the mirror and consider the fragility of life and the fact that you're just a piece of sand in the desert in this great big universe. This actually was the one that really broke my heart. Gay wrote really, really well his final moments. Like he died knowing he'd done good, that he'd saved them and done everything they could, and those final moments of like remembering his childhood and fall in Lexington and just like, it's really evocative writing. It's well done, and it is heartbreaking. There is no getting writing. It is heartbreaking because he's another one of those characters that I grin every time they mention Murphy. So, but she did right by him. Like this is a good send off.
It's a great send off.
Pretty much all of these characters have been good send offs when they die. It's not wasted. Yeah. It's really well done, and this is no different.
Murphy is more or less the heart of the book.
Because for a human, like all of the for an unmodified human anyway, all of the Spartans loved the guy. They all had experience with him. He was a legend among them. Like he was a Spartan without being a Spartan in a way.
Right. He was the Pelican pilot that always got them to where they needed to go. So he dies. Outside now, chapter 36, Gorian has arrived, and he's brought reinforcements. And Jaga is there too, but Jaga is not directly involved. And Horvath is like, all right, here we go. This is it. Cam is killed by a Wraith. Basically, a Wraith does a strafing run and kills Cam and really fucks up Dimmick. But Dimmick, meanwhile, like she is, shell shocked. She's pale, but she sees Horvath is fighting with Gorian, and she manages to get a grenade and walk over to like Horvath and get his attention and be like, "You're gonna need this."
Yeah, yeah. I brung you grenade.
I brung you sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, she was talking about sandwiches earlier in that chapter, or in the previous chapter. It was like an explosion sandwich or something. It's basically it's like 2 pieces of a bomb, and there's like around a grenade or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you brick up around a grenade or something, and yeah. And doesn't oh, that's later. That's later. We'll get to another sandwich for Horvath, I think, later. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's later though.
I forgot. I didn't write it down, but I didn't know what you're talking about. So Horvath uses that grenade to take out Gorian's shield, and earlier in the chapter, Bender had given Horvath a plasma knife. And it was like attached to his wrist, and Gorian is like choking Horvath at this point, and Horvath just takes the knife and jams it right through Gorian's like side and armor and cooks him from the inside out. And that's a wrap on Gorian.
Bye, Gorian.
Unfortunately, the two of them tumble down onto a translocation pad and get zapped away somewhere. And they're like, we don't. Where do you go?
Great.
We just
I succeeded.
It's now day 155. Lucas is
he's gone full Lovecraftian madman. I stared into the Necronomicon for too long.
Yeah.
He's gone to Bye-Bye Town.
He's gone to Bye-Bye Town. The Harbinger is telling him how humanity and her species used to both be enemies of the Forerunners.
Yeah.
And how the Forerunners forgave humanity and like let humanity become the replacement for the Forerunners.
Yeah.
But her species didn't like we didn't get forgiven, but now we're back. And it's like, oh, that's creepy. It's
a very Cain and Abel kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes you think like, oh, I guess there must have been, it's like, they're like ancient humans who are much further technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Is kind of what they're hinting at. Maybe humans not being from Earth originally.
Yeah. I always love that kind of thing. Like the future Dark Ages that are still crazy advanced.
It's like Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, exactly.
So spoilers for a 20-year-old show at this point. But Battlestar Galactica, it ends with them landing on Earth, and you realize that they're landing on Earth millions of years ago, and they are like they seed the original human population or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, don't think about it too hard. But
don't think about it too hard. But yeah. And Starbuck was an angel.
Right.
Don't think about it too hard.
Just go with us on this one. I swear to God, we're gonna get to a point. Just trust us on this one.
And then they wake up and present that you know what? You just got to watch the last episode of BSG yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? Just enjoy it. Just
enjoy it. You know, it's a great show. Yeah. It has a lot of good moments. Who cares if the final episode was like the show was humming on like a weirdness level of 7 out of 10, and then the final episode went to like it was just like a spike up to 11 without warning.
Yeah. The final episode was just the writing staff going, fuck it. Like, we're done, right? Okay, whatever. It's over. Doesn't matter.
It's over. So a few days later, we see Kovan. We catch up with Kovan, Bender, and Dimmick, and they at the end of the battle were rescued by Veridity. Veridity comes out shooting lasers and cutting people in half, and just takes them somewhere and drops them off. And they're like, "Okay, well, we did it.
Yeah, this is it. We're done. Okay,
we're done." Right. And then they're like, "Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's to go save Lucas." And have you seen those memes where it's like, if this thing was made in 2007, this film was made in 2007, and it has that what is it, an Evanescence song or something like that at the end? Oh, What I've Done by Linkin Park. Okay, so
I thought it was the Halloween theme at first. I was like, what the fuck is this?
So if this was in 2007, if this book was in 2007, it would be, well, I guess there's only one thing left to do. And it like camera pans behind them, and off in the distance you can see the tower where they know Lucas is being kept. You're like, we gotta rescue Lucas.
Boom!
Yeah. I've done. And it's like Halo, the Rubicon Protocol logo,
lock and load. Like, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what this is. It's like, how about one more? All right. Yeah, credits roll. But
Kovan, Bender, and Dimmick are not in great shape.
No, I don't know what their plan is.
I don't know what their plan is. Kovan's not even in her armor anymore. The chapter starts with them like wrestling to get her out. And it's just like, they're just like, she's just like sitting there in her like black, tech suit or whatever. And they're like, what the fuck do we do with this? It's like 600 kilograms of armor. We can't carry it around.
Right. They are literally the worst they've ever been. And they're like, but now we're going to save our buddy from a god alien. That sounds, we've got this. I've got 6 bullets, a half-finished roll of Tums, and the script to Goodwill Hunting. We can fucking MacGyver the shit out of this.
Yeah, and then Bender goes, "You like apples?" And then Kovan says, "Well, how do you like them apples?"
Yeah.
What?
Boom. Halo. Why do people pay us to write these scripts, Kevin? I will never understand.
I'll never know.
I'll never understand it.
Chapter 39, last chapter. Horvath. This is a great chapter. Great way to close out the book. Horvath is somewhere. He's on like, he's in like the Halo equivalent of the Arctic. He spends a little bit passed out in a coma. When he wakes up, he throws Gorian's body off of a cliff because fuck him.
Yeah. Fuck you.
And then he walks around and he finds like a crashed shuttle from the Infinity, and there's like, water and MREs in there, and one of the MREs just says sandwich.
It's so good.
And it's just like, he opens it up and it's just like unidentifiable meat between 2 slices of thin slices of bread.
It's so good because I spent a long time since I ate MREs. They were never good. I've heard that they're a lot better nowadays than they used to be, but I wouldn't put it past like Space Army to be like, yes, UNSC sandwich.
This is a sandwich flavor MRE.
Right. just the good old fashioned nostalgia of sandwich. Please enjoy sandwich.
Colonel, my MRE says sandwich.
Yeah.
And he basically just starts like, well, I'm here, and he just starts broadcasting a message out saying, to any UNSC personnel, could use a hand.
Yeah. I appear to be alive.
I appear to be alive, and
here.
in the Ninja Gaiden snow level.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much.
And it's like,
eagles are a pain in the dick.
They're a pain in the dick. Master Chief, if you're alive, could really use you right now, buddy.
And this is only like the second or third time that Master Chief is even mentioned.
Yeah, they just talk about, they say Blue Team a few times, and Master Chief, who I assume is the head of, in charge of Blue Team. And Horvath the book ends with Horvath sitting alone in the Arctic, and then and then and that's the end of Halo, the Rubicon Protocol.
Hell yeah.
So what do you think? What are you thinking?
This might be one of the best books we've read on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, it might
beginning to end, not a weak moment in there.
No, it is tight. There's no padding in this. It does a good job of incorporating the game aspects. Like, you could tell when there was like a drop off point of like, that's probably going to be in the game. That's probably going to factor into the game.
Right.
Like Horvath has got to be like one of the first people you meet somewhere. There's a side mission with him or something. I have to believe that it's just integrated into the game and to the game world really well. It does its own thing. She explores the horrors of war and everything like that without forgetting that we are into Halo because we want war. We want that space opera battle, marine thing. Please give us some cool, crunchy stuff to think over. That's fine. That's great, in fact. But, we don't want a pacifist run on Halo either.
No.
Although I bet that would be fascinating.
It would be.
In the hands of the right writer.
Yeah.
It might honestly be the best book we've read so far. I don't know. It's not fair to compare because it brings something different than other books would do. But I don't have a hell of a lot of notes for this book.
No, it's fucking good.
It's pretty tight. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I agree with literally everything you said. It is, it's good. I can kind of see where like, okay, yeah, these are probably all like, a lot of this stuff that they mention, but they never really focus on, or when they drop off, like, so like, all right, I haven't played Infinite. I'm probably going to go play Infinite now.
I think I'm going to play it now. Yeah, seriously.
But you're like, all right, well, Horvath and these characters, I assume, are involved at some point, either side quest or main quest for Infinite's plot. We'll assume. And then
you said it's an open world game, right?
Yeah, it's an open world game as opposed to previous Halo titles, which were pretty much linear, shooters. Mm-hmm. It's an open world Halo game. But yeah, it's a really just damn good book, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, so did I.
So, which, I mean, it's hilarious coming off of one of our least favorite books.
Seriously, yeah.
Into this one,
yeah.
Such a stunning, like, to me, I think it's like also. Because I don't think writing is you either have it or you don't type of thing. I think it's a skill that you learn. And I think clearly Kelly Gay has been putting in the chops. She's been putting in the work. I don't know. I've looked into some of her previous work. Just the Simon and Schuster. This is, I think she's published. She's had 11 books.
Yeah.
By way of Simon and Schuster. I don't know. I assume that there might be more.
No, she's got some serious chops on her. It's kind of like it's funny because it feels it's a well-written book, period. And so you're automatically going to compare it to the last thing you read, especially if the last thing you read was kind of unimpressive. But there are times where it felt like the quality of the book was responding directly to a lot of our criticisms of Silver Eyes, for example,
right.
the FNAF book, like character development, making us care about these characters. She had a huge goddamn cast in this.
Yeah.
There was an enormous group of people. The book's about the same length. This might even be a little shorter than the FNAF book. And she managed to get us to a point where we cared about all of these characters in a pretty quick amount of time. We had multiple characters, had much larger arcs, but everybody had a personality. Everybody had their moment, and you gave a shit. And you had to, frankly, because the stuff she asked us to feel emotion on, when you're talking about PTSD and war and violence and the things that she expected us she wanted to draw some hefty emotions out of us. And that's a big ask if you are not developing your characters well. And and she did it. She's just a fucking good writer. She's a really good writer.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and check out maybe not her other Halo books, but some of the other books that she's written. The Charlie Madigan books. She was she's in a short story collection called Carney Punk. She also wrote a Halo short story. There was a Halo short story collection called Fractures, I want to say. That she had a story in. So
she's got chops on her. I really would love to read more of her stuff. We're gonna have to go back to the chronological order, I think, of the Halo books for our next one. Yeah, but it kind of makes me go, all right, let's maybe we pop through those a lot faster so we can get to the Kelly Gay stuff again.
Yeah.
It's just solid.
We'll jump through. I mean, there's like a million of them, so
yeah, that's the trouble.
Therein lies the trouble. Yeah. So yeah, that wraps it up for Halo, the Rubicon Protocol.
Hell yes.
I guess that leaves me only one question, Phil.
What's that?
What are you playing?
Oh, I played Cult of the Lamb. That's all I've been playing.
That's all you've been playing? Are you done? How close are you? You got to be close to done.
Yeah. I'm almost done with it. I've done the thing that I always do where I focused so hard on the home base stuff and my cult that when I finally went, oh, right, I gotta, I literally couldn't do anything more unless I unlocked the resources and that sort of thing that you unlock by doing the different levels.
Right.
And so when I finally did that, I just burned through the bosses, and it was like, oh,
a little overleveled.
Just side quest. So I'm probably got another few hours in it before I'm done, but I adore this game.
How many bishops have you beaten?
I'm down to the last one.
Okay.
Not the fifth one, but the fourth one. Yeah.
The fourth one.
I'm in the spider land right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it is really it's easily in my game of the year list. It's what I want in this kind of game. Nothing's changed about it.
Sure.
I'm in this weird position though, where because I'm seeing the writing on the wall, I'm seeing, because I've maxed out all my research trees. I've done all that stuff, and my only complaint about it is that I wish there was more for me to do. It's not a short game. I think it's probably going to round out at about 20 hours for me. Mm-hmm. By the time I finish 2021, something. And from what I've seen, that's mostly other people's experience as well. It's that's a great length for a $25 indie strategy action game. I think it's just the right length for that, but I'm enjoying it so much. And that the civilization fanatic in me is kind of like, God, there's got to be more tiers to unlock.
Need more.
So I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm going to play something else, and I'm going to quietly hope that they release a really kick-ass DLC that just doubles it up again so I can get right back into it, because I'm probably going to 100% this thing, because I'm just enjoying the world so damn much.
Yeah,
so,
it's a cute little game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
good.
What about you, Kevin? What are you playing?
So I beat Singularity.
So you got that to work.
Yeah, I got it to work. Yeah, I was.
God, you hauled ass in that one. How long did it take you to beat?
It's about it's on Good Old Games, and I don't have that open right now. But it takes about 7 hours.
Okay,
I think to get all the way through it. Yeah, it is. I was talking to James about it, and the thing he said is it punches above its weight, and I agree with that. It definitely punches above its weight for what it is, which is like, it's a short game. Is published by Activision, made by Raven Software. It has a lot of Bioshock vibes, but it does some really fun, neat stuff with your power gauntlet thing is basically like controls time. So you'll go and you'll get to like an area with like a collapsed set of stairs, and you can use the thing to rewind time, and like the stairs will come back together.
Oh, nice. They kind of did that in the Blair Witch video game with the camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really neat mechanic.
They and then you could like enemies, you could age them. So you can like you shoot an enemy with, it's like terrifying because you hit that guy and he's like and he like turns into a skeleton and collapses.
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying. Or you could hit him with it twice, like really quickly, and they turn into a horrible mutant with like melting flesh and like no eyes, and they just attack anything that's nearby. So if you have like a pack of like soldiers that you're fighting off against, you turn one of them into this mutant thing, and it'll start like killing all the soldiers around them.
Oh my God, that's insane.
It's got some really interesting moments. So yeah, Singularity, beat it. It's a fun game. I'll be talking about that at length on Bullet Time with Hot Cider at some point. What else? I was playing Nightmare of Decay, which is, I talked about that the other day. I ran into a little bit of a soft lock, only because there's like an enemy where I think I used up too much ammo earlier in the game, and now there's an enemy where it's like, I just don't have enough ammo to.
You literally cannot kill him.
I literally just don't have enough ammo to deal with this like boss type character. So I'm like, okay, well, that's very Resident Evil of it.
I mean, yeah. Credit where credit's due on that one, I guess.
I could probably just like restart the game, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get back around to it. So to get my Resident Evil like fix, I started playing Tormented Souls.
Yes, I've been looking at this one.
Super duper Resident Evil-y. It's like it's Resident Evil 1, it's original fixed camera Resident Evil style. It's great so far.
Nice.
The only thing that gives me pause, and I haven't been like super paying attention to the story. Like I've been kind of playing around, but there's a lot of story that's told in like journal entries and things like that. So basically it takes place in a old hospital. So it's a hospital that used to be it was a mansion that got converted into a hospital.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah, they're not even trying to hide what they're doing here.
Yeah, sure. The only things that give me pause about it is that it's like, the enemies are like they're like monsters, but they're not. They're very much people who are like, it's a dude that has his legs chopped off that's coming after you, or it's like dudes in wheelchairs, or like it's like it's a type of horror that I've become more aware of that it makes me a little bit uncomfortable when it's like it's ugliness and disability are the thing that are scary about the enemies. Yeah. And it's not necessarily a great vibe when you think about it a lot. In terms of like gameplay and puzzle solving and all that stuff, yeah, it's great. I mean, in terms of on that front, but that's my only concern with like giving it my full hearty 100% recommendation. It's not like you're blasting away monsters. It's like, oh, they turned like people with disabilities into monsters in the game. Yeah. They have like knives in their hands and they're monstrous looking, but at the same time, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I can understand that. That's tough. That's a tough one.
It's judgment call, but if you don't dig on that kind of stuff, if you have particular issues with like ableism in horror and its depiction and all that stuff, I would say, just steer away from Tormented Souls, because I think it could probably reinforce some of those negative stereotypes that you're not 100%, you might not be 100% fond of, and I'm not fond of them. And I didn't really realize it until I was into the game, like, oh, this is kind of what it's going to be, isn't it? But at the same time, I'm just kind of stomaching it and getting through the game, because a lot of it is still really good. And that's the problem, is when you have these issues, where it's like the rest of it is still really good.
And it's a totally valid criticism.
Yeah.
And despite what some people would tell you, you can enjoy a game and still have serious
misgivings,
criticisms for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can enjoy the gameplay and have a problem with the way they handle certain topics. That's totally valid. So it's a shame that it had to get marred like that, but it sounds like an interesting
and it doesn't seem like it's even necessary in terms of like why. I don't know. It seems like it could have easily gone a different direction. Right. Maybe I'm just not paying enough attention to the story, and it's like totally justified within the story. But there's so many journal entries, and the writing is like, fine. Yeah. It's like I'm not super compelled to read the journal entries.
Right. Yeah, that's tough with these indie games. Like, they don't always have the best writers.
Yeah. And going back to, while I'm on this talking about stuff like that, going back to Singularity, the main ding about it is that it has no closed captioning options.
Really?
0. So even when you have when an audio log is playing, you can't just like play it and walk away, because it also has spatial sound. So as soon as you walk away from it, you can't hear it.
That's wild.
So that's accessibility in video games is very important. It's just wild that a 2010 game did not have any closed captioning, because I feel like 2010 is that's a weird time to not have a game with no captions.
Yeah, I think it was still pretty ubiquitous back then. Like, it's a punchline these days that everybody keeps closed captioning on their games, their movies,
their movies.
Yeah. But it was definitely going on back then too. So that's an interesting choice.
Weird choice. But so that's what I have been playing.
I've got such a backlog, and I got to get back on what you were talking about with just devouring this backlog. I got to get in on that. Same with my books. I was doing really good there for a while, that I was like refusing to let myself buy a new book or a new game until I'd played like 10 of them or something like that.
And then you went to that thing where you were volunteering, and you bought like 40 books for $1.
My fiance literally was like, "Hey, You spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. That much is clear. And I know that it was a used book thing and they were like $1 a piece, but we have only got so much room in this house, Philip. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I've got to get back on it. You're right. I'm sorry.
So 2022, the year of the backlog. Honestly, 2023 could be the year of the backlog as well.
I think that's a very noble goal. Like, I think if you give yourself a little grace for new releases that you're really pumped about, but I think that would be a good goal. Like, treat 2023 like the year of the backlog. Just clear out your Steam as best as you can.
Exactly. I want to just move everything over because I have a little label, like a beaten label for all my Steam games, little category or a collection that I put them into when I've beaten the game. Just to, it's like it's in a place and I can go like, look at all the games I've beaten.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll do it for tonight's episode.
Hell yeah.
If you want to help us out, you could go to Spotify, or you could go to Apple Podcasts, or you could go to Good Pods, and you can rate us 5 stars on any of those platforms. It really helps us out. If you're feeling really spunky, go ahead and write a review. Put some words into the little digital paper there and write it up and rate us 5 stars, and it'll help. It'll help.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PixelLit Pod. You can also go to our website at pixelitpod.com. From there, you can see the transcripts of each episode, as well as get links to our Discord and our Steam Curator page, where we will be posting reviews of the things that we talk about in the What Are You Playing segment. So that wraps it up for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and have a good night.
Bye.